We've got something huge to talk about today. We're diving deep into the Intellexa leaks, a massive, recently uncovered trove of internal documents from one of the world's most infamous mercenary spyware companies. We're going to take you inside their signature product, Predator, to show you exactly how this incredibly powerful surveillance tool works and, more importantly, why it's such a massive threat.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get a handle on the threat itself. Then, we'll look at how these infections actually start, including a brand new silent attack method you need to know about. After that, we'll get to the smoking gun from the leaks themselves. And finally, we'll tie it all together and talk about why this whole industry is something you should be paying attention to. All right, first things first. What exactly are we dealing with here? Let's pull back the curtain on Predator and really understand what it is. So, Predator falls into this category of mercenary spyware. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of it this way. This is not software you can just go out and buy. It's basically a weapon-grade surveillance tool built by a private company and then sold, usually under the table, to governments who want to spy on specific people. And just look at how invasive this stuff is. Once Predator is on a phone, it's like a ghost in the machine. It can see everything. We're talking encrypted messages on Signal or WhatsApp. It can record your conversations, steal your passwords, track your every move. It can even turn on your camera and microphone without you ever knowing. It is total, unchecked access.
So the big question is, how does a tool this powerful actually get onto somebody's phone? Let's break down the anatomy of one of these attacks.
For a long time, Predator's main trick was something called a one-click attack. It's pretty much what it sounds like. An operator sends a very convincing, but malicious link to a target. If they click it, boom. The spyware exploits a weakness in the phone's browser, like Chrome or Safari, and installs itself. But here's the key. That's a big if. It relies on the target making a mistake.
Now, to get around that risk, Intellexa came up with two main ways to deliver their spyware. They call them tactical and strategic. Tactical attacks mean you have to be physically close to the person. Think like hacking them over a coffee shop Wi-Fi. But the real game changer, the one we need to worry about, is their strategic approach, which can be launched from literally anywhere on the planet.
And this brings us to their most advanced and, frankly, most terrifying strategic weapon. It's a system they call Aladdin, and it represents a whole new era of completely silent infection. And these aren't my words. This is from one of their own leaked documents. They call Aladdin a remote zero-click attack vector. Zero click. Let that sink in. It means the target doesn't have to do a single thing. No clicking a weird link, no downloading a strange file, nothing.
So how on earth does that even work? It's a pretty devious four-step process. First, the attacker gets the target's public IP address, which they can often do by forcing an internet provider to give it to them. Then, they use that IP address to push a malicious ad into a normal advertising network. So, when the target is just browsing a regular news site or using an app, that malicious ad gets served to their phone. And here's the kicker. The moment the ad loads on the screen, the device is infected.
You have to understand what this means. The Aladdin system weaponizes the very digital ad infrastructure that the entire internet runs on. It turns the apps and news sites you visit and trust every single day into potential entry points for spyware, and the victim has absolutely no idea it's happening.
Now, these leaks gave us so much more than just technical diagrams. They gave us the smoking gun. A direct, unfiltered look at how Intellex's own people were interacting with these systems. This is maybe the most shocking part of the whole thing. The leak included training videos from mid-2023, and in these videos you can see Intellex's own support staff using everyday remote access tools like TeamViewer to log directly into the live active Predator systems being used by their government clients. In one of the recordings, just for a moment, you can see the TeamViewer control panel, and on it is a list of at least 10 different customer systems that the staffer could access with a single click. This wasn't some kind of demo environment. This was a window into their real, live, global operations. Of course, each customer was hidden behind a codename. It's standard practice to protect their identities. We can see names like Dragon, Falcon, Phoenix. And you'll notice the list is alphabetical, which almost certainly means there were more we just couldn't see on the screen.
And just in case there was any doubt, they spell it out for us. In the video, you hear someone ask if they're in a test system, and the instructor comes back and says, crystal clear, that, quote, we are accessing and viewing a live customer environment. This means they were looking at a system actively collecting real data from real people. Think about that.
Intellexa wasn't just selling the tool, they were holding a master key.
So let's pull back from all the tech for a minute and get to the final and honestly the most crucial part of this whole story, the real-world costs of this surveillance, and why all of these details matter so much.
It all really boils down to this one fundamental question. Why should we be so concerned about a private, for-profit industry that sells these kinds of surveillance capabilities?
Well, it's because when you look at who gets targeted by tools like Predator, it's never random. Time and time again, forensic analysis shows that the victims are journalists, human rights lawyers, activists, and political opponents. This kind of surveillance isn't about stopping crime. It's about silencing dissent, creating fear, and just completely destroying the privacy and security we all depend on.
And that leaves us with this one final, pretty chilling question. When you have silent, invisible ways to infect any phone, and a secretive, for-profit industry selling that power to the highest bidder, it creates a world where our own devices can be turned against us without us ever knowing. So, when surveillance is a commercial product, who is truly safe?
This research and video were created with the help of Abdul Hasib and Amnesty International Human Rights.